That title song is called Into Space, and that's exactly how Antonio Candreva makes me feel whenever he plays Roma, because this man has a unlimited vendetta against this club from his years at Lazio. Those are two Ballon d'Or worthy goals of the highest echelon of players. Where does he get the quality from? Why doesn't he do this in other games? Why does Candreva wait until he plays against Roma to show the world what he could really do? I don't get it. Roma 2, Salernitana 2. What's up, guys? How are you doing? I'm Wayne Gerard. Whether this is your first time or you're part of our awesome Roma community, welcome. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to look at the stats, the lineups, what Mourinho didn't have to say because he wasn't on the lineup. He wasn't on the bench, I should say, and some other news revolving this game, as well as looking at some other scores from Serie A. So it's a beautiful day here in New Jersey. We finally got some good weather, not so humid, not raining. It's constantly raining. Went to the beach yesterday early in the morning. It was very nice. And yeah, life is good, except except when Candreva gets the ball. So immediately, I'd like you to just send in some comments. Let me know what's going on. And yes, one Wayne time. Yes, on time today. Excellent. Good to see everybody. We started just at 6 p.m. I'm reading these comments as they come in. A lot of interesting ones there, as you could see. And we're definitely going to get to each and every one of them. So thank you. But yeah, 2-2. And I think that the biggest storyline of the day is Andrea Belotti. I'm trying to run through it in my mind. Are there any other ideas, subjects which are bigger than that? I don't think so. The man who didn't score a single Serie A goal goes ahead and gets himself two. And that to me there's so much there. There's so much to really analyze, especially when it comes to the Mercato for Roma. And what does this mean now for the rest of the season? Does Roma have somebody who that they can depend on, somebody that can lead the line, who is a number 9? Because this guy looked super in form. He looked strong, agile, which is not an adjective we would often use for Bellotti, but he did. And he looked like he had an excellent preseason coming into this. And I think that some of us were excited. There was some enthusiasm revolving around him, whether or not he was going to come in and show us. And I think people start to get that feeling. And he does. 7 minutes in, that it was an incredible ball from Brian Cristante. I'm not sure if everyone caught who passed that because it got waved off, but Cristante sent him an incredible through ball, long range. That must have been 35 yards, that pass. And Bellotti took it down so well. Really unfortunate that one goes to be waved off. But he spoke to DAZN after the match, and he said, I missed being myself. He says, I missed the last season was very difficult, and surely I was never 100% fit. This year is different, and I feel I can help. However, we didn't win in the end, so there's regret. I aim to score as many goals as possible, which are needed to take points home. Like, he knows, like, yeah, I got the goal, but in the end, we didn't win. So good mentality there. And as I mentioned, that Roma, of course, are still looking for another striker. And as we read here, which bolded or in blue here, it talks about this. This is Football Italia, by the way. And he goes on to say, the coach and the club are making their assessments. I must give my best every time I'm involved. A draw at home is never a good result. There's a lot to do to improve, but we conceded 2 goals, and we could have scored more goals, but we must win games, especially at home. And it's unfortunate because not only the first, but also the second, it shows just how good that Bellotti can be. And honestly, I forgot him. I forgot how good he could be. 108 goals, 107 and 108 were scored today. And that's a remarkable stat, considering that he didn't score any last season. All right. I think we should take a look at a pivotal moment of the match. And let's go back to, I know this is painful, but let's go to Candreva's goal for a second. Keep the comments coming in, by the way, guys. We are going to be looking over everything. Candreva scores 49th minute, and then about 15 minutes later, Conti makes the substitutions. Karsdorp comes in for Christensen. It's okay. It's fine. Not a noteworthy performance from Rasmus. Zalewski comes in for Spinazzola, who had a poor game. Sanchez then replaces Bove. Good. He needed it. And Paredes comes in for Smalling. So we see you see a center back come out for a defensive midfielder, or even a box-to-box if you want to call Paredes that. And that's the move. In 2 minutes later, or a minute later, we see Dia come on, replaces Mazzocchi. So Salernitana's idea here was that they were going to start playing a little bit more defensive. And as we look up, a couple more substitutions, getting tired legs out there by Paulo Sousa. And Bellotti then scores the second. 82nd minute. It's not enough. Roma put a lot of players forward. I thought Rick Karsdorp, who we just mentioned, came on as a sub. I thought he did a good job at keeping that ball alive and putting it across the face of goal. It was a difficult one for him to receive, but nevertheless, he did a really good job. So I'm wondering whether or not Jose will start to consider Karsdorp as a starter. Will that, there was issues last season, less than a year ago, back to last January. Rick Karsdorp was apparently on the transfer window. He was supposed to be sold. There were no buyers, or he didn't want to go where the offers were. But now if he can get himself back into the fold, I think that would be a pretty great thing. So let's look at the comments coming in here. We got Chris says, it wasn't that bad. Omar's on time. Amir does not like Spinazzola, Bove, and okay. First game of the season, let's consider. Even if Bellotti is the starter, we still need another one for squad depth. Yeah, it's true. So the rumor now, with the ever-changing rumor of AS Roma striker situation, is that Marcos Leonardo will come not in the next few days, but in January. Where does that leave for Zapata? Now, Gasperini actually made a comment about that, and I'm going to bring it up here. So he says that he's not off the transfer block. Like, this could still happen. I'll get you the exact words here. Yeah, let's share this tab. There we go. So Gasperini spoke to DAZN as well after his match, and he said if he's fit, he can play, but I will never oppose the decision about the idea that he could become a Roma player. He says, I owe a lot of players like him and Muriel who will decide what to do in agreement with the club. If they stay, I'll be happy to coach them. If they leave, I'll be equally happy for them. So he's not, this is a real situation. Zapata could come. Is Zapata a good backup? Yeah, absolutely. He's a great backup. I think that Bellotti being the number one, unopposed, maybe somebody older than Zapata, but I do think it is good to have that quality on the bench. As long as Zapata now understands that, hey, look, you might not start the majority of matches. You might not be starting 40%. You might start 25% when you're needed. So that's a reality, I think, that I hope Zapata understands if he is to come over. What do you think? What do you guys think about that? Anyway, let's get to some more comments. The goals were beauties and not just happens. Yeah, especially the offsides one. So one thing we can definitely discuss is the fact that Roma's midfield was completely different. Who's responsible for that? Hassem Aouar. Thought he played great. Exactly what he's brought in for. Exactly what Roma's been missing since the days of Mkhitaryan. All last season, there was no facilitator, no guy who could get the ball from the midfield to the attack. No technical attacking player like that. Attacking midfielder, I should say. Even if you don't want to call Aouar an attacking midfielder like a trequartista, he's still somebody who, from a central standpoint, he's somebody who's going to push the play forward. And that's why I say attacking midfielder there. Now, not long story. What's the word I'm looking for? Long term, this is going to be such a bonus, such a plus for the way that Mourinho can play and the way that his team approaches matches and what they feel that they can really do. This is going to impact the amount of chances that strikers get. There's much bigger difference between a striker, the way that Tammy played so much last year, being thrown all the way out and waiting for a long ball, versus a midfield who actually supports the attack. And I'm hoping that this is what's going to happen with these additions, with Sanchez, with Paredes, with Aouar, with Bove getting a year older, with Cristante playing those deep, long balls. So I think that a player like Aouar and overall strength, which is added throughout the team, significantly helps Roma get forward, get scoring opportunities, and not just chances, but big chances. We're talking about quality here, right? We're not talking about just, a half chance, Tammy was almost there, or Bellotti was almost, but really he couldn't get on the end. No, we're talking about quality chances, and that's what a great midfield can bring you. And as Amir says, yes, Renato is class. Chris jumps in, says, I saw some improvement in build-up play, just as we're talking about right now, through the wing, on the left, and later in the right. Mancini and Cristante stop all these. Well, you say useless long balls, but useless, not really, right? Because if we think about that goal that was waved off, who's that come from? That comes from Cristante. Where do Roma's two goals in the last 2 European finals they came from? A Gianluca Mancini long ball, right? One was to Zaniolo, and who scored? Who just scored in the Europa League final for Roma? Was it Dybala? I don't know. You know better than I do. Renato, what we wish Genie could have been last year. Yes, Sammy. Defense needs a lot of work. With a full squad, the team can be deadly. By the way, Salernitana's XG, expected goals, under, what was it, 0.25? Anyone want to fact check me? Real quick, search that up. What was Salernitana's XG? Roma's was 2, so they hit the mark. 2 expected goals, 2 goals went in. Good. That's what you want. You want that. And typically in the past 2-3 seasons, Roma has underperformed in that class, in that category. They have been something like 3 expected goals per game and 1 goal, or 0 goals and 2 XG. So we see improvement there for sure. And I can't really hold that against, I don't know what I was going to say. I got distracted by this long ball. You got to remember, like, this is the tactic. Mancini is somebody who can play a good long ball. If it didn't work out for him today, that's another thing. But this is a tactic organized by Mourinho. So if you love Mourinho but don't like the way that Gianluca Mancini is playing, well, guess who's directing him to play like that? It's not random. They're working on this stuff in practice every day. Yeah, Christensen, not too hot. Hi, Paul. How are you, man? It's nice to speak. We haven't spoken in a while. And Paul says the offside against Bellotti when he scored should not have been called. Fantastic pass, him, great follow-up into the net. An inch, give me a break. I know. I thought that rule was going to change, guys. I didn't think that was still existing, this fact that a player could be a shoulder beyond and be called. That doesn't seem fair. And I know it's the rule, but I have to wonder if that rule really makes sense or if it's hurting football. Pongani says, yeah, I hope so. I hope not. Every shot against Roma will result in a goal. I sure as heck hope not. And yes, we addressed that. Spinazzola was poor. Zalewski good when he comes on. And with another year under his belt, last year was not the best for Zalewski. But now maybe Roma can depend on him. Maybe Mourinho can put stock in him and be like, you know what? Spinazzola, you're not really doing it for us right now. We're going to give it to somebody who's a little bit more spry, maybe more about it. Spinazzola just looked rusty. El Shaarawy a lot more lively with the Zalewski playing with him. That's a good point about how certain players benefit when others are on the pitch. A keeper, I agree with Bongani here in the sense that I don't know if Rui Patricio is still cut out to be a number 1. And by I don't know, I mean I don't think so. And this is a category that I wish Roma had replaced, that Pinto had gotten to. There was a keeper, I forget who it was, maybe the Tottenham keeper, who was rumored to be going to Lazio, but he stopped the deal because he didn't want competition with Provedel. Ivan Provedel is statistically the best keeper in Serie A. You're not going to start, buddy, not over Provedel. So what happened was that the deal collapsed, but I'm wondering, why can Roma not get Lloris? Because I think that it's better. Is it, the end all be all? No. I would like to see Roma turn in a different direction. I think that the loss of Vicario was big to Tottenham. I think, but Tottenham paid like 20 million for him. Can we expect Roma to go on and have done that? No. So what are the options? And I don't know if there's too many right now. What's up, Kier? His performance was good. A Mancini mistake for the first with a wonder strike for their second. Bellotti looked like a different guy, unlucky not to get the win. On to Hellas Verona. And Paul makes a great observation here that Lazio blew it in the 87th with Di Francesco. Yes, Di Francesco's son, Federico Di Francesco, scored. And the goal right before that, what is his name? I will get you the name of this guy. It's something unfamiliar. So Lecce, Lazio. See what happened there. But Immobile scored early on. Pontus Almqvist, yes. He scored in the 85th and Di Francesco in the 87th. Almqvist's goal was great. I didn't see Di Francesco's as much in detail, but it was also like a scrap in the box. But I watched Almqvist like 3 times. Left foot, pops it up to himself, hits it on the volley. Quality. And Lecce, the other Giallorossi, They're wolves, right? Or are they foxes? No, they're La Lupa. I'm pretty sure. The other wolves, the other Giallo y Rosso wolves, get the win. So it's like a case. There's a lot of irony in that. No, in one case with Roma Salernitana, you've got Lazio's ex guy scoring wonder goals to give them a lead, and in Lazio's game, you've got this team which looks like a little brother of Roma scoring at the end and taking all 3 points. It's kind of weird. Sammy says, I think without Paredes, the midfield would still be unable to link defense to the strikers. Really? Even with Awar? You think that it's all dependent on Paredes? Lecce break big teams and finish 16th. Dybala, big loss. So without Lorenzo Pellegrini, without Jose Mourinho, without Paulo Dybala today, let's just reiterate that. I see now 37 people. By the way, guys, do me a big old favor as I see a bunch of us in here now. You know what to do. Hit it. Thank you. Appreciate it. So back to the comments. Look, glad to see other familiar faces coming on in too. So, Dybala, Cristante, not a replacement for Matic. I think we can agree on that. So there was no direct replacement for Matic because Paredes is not a identical player. They don't play super the same way. I think what Paredes gives you is a bit more width and a bit more horizontalism, like a bit more flexibility, but he's not going to be that crushing player who's just going to win the ball back. He's going to make a slide. Is he going to tower over you and use his body to get around you and shield the other player away from the ball? No. Salernitana, 0.14, Matt. 0.14 and 2 goals. Candreva, I don't know if this guy goes to church or if he's doing witchcraft because it's definitely one or the other. And one of those is working for it. He's got to tell me. I really just need to know. So back to this comment from Chris, though. So it's not a like for replacement, but I do think that in a 3-5-2, Paredes is probably the better player. In a more structured 4-2-3-1, sitting a little bit deeper, I think that Matic is the better player, but Matic is gone. Matic signed a 3-year deal with Rennes, and this is an emergency purchase, which happened late because of whatever Matic decided he had to do. So sometimes we will see XG differ depending on which website we're looking at. But here I see 0.14 creeping up again, and that's just insane. But that also shows you how good that Roma played, right? To a point, because if you limit the other team to 0.14 XG expected goals, that means that they had less than one. How do I do this? Yeah. Less than I don't know statistically. How do I say it? Less than a 1% chance. A 10% chance. I feel like poor Joe Biden trying to explain something right now. But they had, of their 2 goals, they had a 5% chance to get it into the net. There we go. So statistically, it's an anomaly. Today was a freak show of goals going into the back of the net. And thank you, Candreva. Ioannis is in here. He checks in. He says, said we got about a tie, but a lot of positives overall. Awar, Paredes, Renato could all be special when they adjust to the league. Keep the comments coming in, guys. What's up, Marco? Awar really good, but thinks the wingbacks and midfield are too passive. Are we going to give them some time, Marco? Do we want to let them build some chemistry with one another, integrate, get a feel for what it's really like, and not just a friendly? They still don't have off-the-ball movement, no patterns of play, mostly long balls. And Ioannis gives us another good stat there. So, yeah, Roma, 2.01, perfect with XG. So, Zapatista, not a starter, not Bellotti. Okay, Amir came in with some fire today. He says Zapata is the starter, not Bellotti. Well, let's see. After today's match, who's to say that Bellotti is going to be on the bench? You don't bench a striker who just put 3 goals away. We're not going to count that third one, or I should say the first. So that's not going to happen. Guy scores what should be a legitimate hat trick. You don't take him off the field. So back to if Zapata does sign for Roma, he better not think that he's going to come in here and he's just going to get the number 1 spot. Leo says, I don't think Chris and Bove can play together. I love both, but one of them should play with Awar or Renato. Maybe true. Unless Bove is given a little bit more freedom. But I think that when you play both of them, you do lack quite a bit technically going forward. Like holding the midfield together, I think they're both good. I think they're both smart players. And, well, Bove will become smarter. He'll adapt more to the tactics. We will come back really strong. I think so too. Yeah, for sure, right? Like, why doesn't that even get looked at? That baffles me. The fact that Guillaume's foul on Bellotti, Guillaume, I really wish I could stop saying this guy's name. If you remember when he joined Roma, like did nothing. And now he's actually had a new career at Salernitana with another guy, Federico Fazio, still doing his thing. But the fact that this isn't even looked at to me is strange. As Chris says, I think Llorente was underrated. Yeah, not a peep, right? He was great. He was good. Yeah, regarding Llorente. I like seeing people talk to each other in the comments. Rowan, I don't think that Mourinho really considers Spillar to be a number one, or else we would have seen it by now as Rui shows age. We did well, just need more depth, need to be more deep at the game. Famo Republicano Baros, what's up? I think I've seen you in here before. Sammy asks, how do I think Mu will utilize his midfielders? Pellegrini, Paredes, Bove, Christensen, Renato. So let's say in a perfect world, Sammy, let's say, well, first of all, let's get us off looking at Gasparini. I think we've had enough of that. But let's go to this. Actually, let's go to the lineups. So that midfield, I think ideally, Nissen. Why does he come up as Nissen in Google? That was weird. Somebody explain that. Nissen. That's a hanno sbagliato, no? So, yeah, they really messed up here. Look at where they have Spinazzola on Google. This is not correct. Ideal, perfect world. I think you have Paredes and Renato both sitting next to each other. And then as in a bit of a higher line, you have Awar. I think that's your best midfield. I think if it's a final, that's who you go with. Awar as the more advanced intermedio. And then right behind Sanchez and Paredes. Yeah, Paredes over Cristante probably. I think he's just got a little bit more in his tool shed. I think he works with a little bit more technically. On the right there, yeah, Christensen started, and then we see that should be Spinazzola and Il Faraone. I love how Google does that, and Bellotti up there. So that's to answer your question. I think those are your top three, my friend. Both Candreva goals would have been hard to stop no matter. Yeah, you could have put prime Gianluigi Buffon in there. You put Oliver Kahn. No one was stopping those guys. Falcone. Yeah, good shout. Maybe. Net. Roma will be good this season, Purity says, if we fix minor issues like possession and transitions from the defense to attack. I think they will be. I do think Roma will be good. I think that these additions are going to do a lot for the team. Finally, Roma has a really good midfield. Sufjan says, Rui would have been replaced if there was the cash. Yes, absolutely. A lot of players would have been replaced. I don't dislike our market, but a lot of these players are plan C or even D. And I think Roma was put into plan C and D. Didn't make Europe. Why? Let's not get into the refereeing. Didn't have equity. Why? Because Tammy Abraham, who was likely going to be sold, went down with an ACL tear. Ibanez does come in. So that was plan A, making Europe. Plan B was if you didn't make Europe, at least you could sell Tammy. Then you got to move on to plan C. But plan C is also limited because now you got competition from a unsuspected source of Saudi Arabia. You got financial fair play breathing down your neck. So Sufjan uses this term like a C or D, and I absolutely agree with that observation. Rawan is in here, and he says, didn't know Lecce won. Yeah, 87th minute, Di Francesco's son. So the Roma Junior, with the way that they look, their emblem, their colors, their nickname, with Roma's ex-coach who got them the furthest they've ever gone. Well, not the furthest they've ever gone, but the biggest chance that they had to win in Europe, to win the Champions League outside of Liverpool. Yeah, there's a lot of irony today. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. I see over 45 of us in here now. Thank you very much. Yeah, Dybala scored in the final. Very good. Good match, and happy about our midfielders and bench. The bench, like we look back at that quadruple substitution, and yeah, that's a big difference. That's going to be a big difference, the way that this team plays and handles matches, if they can get back into matches, and if they can control matches when they need to secure a league. What's up, Germanicus? How are you, my friend? Richard, a Jim, maybe first time, says, still struggling to see how Pellegrini fits into the current lineup. Well, I think he's going to play deeper. That's for sure. I hope Jose does not want him stepping on the toes of Awad. I don't see how you put that guy on the bench. No way. No way. Vincenzo with an S. Vincenzo with an S says Paredes or bust. Young Dashi's here. He says, hi, what's up, man? What's up? Paredes good at set pieces. Good thing we won't rely on Pellegrini anymore for sets. Going to be difficult fitting in all these midfielders in one team, though. I agree with you. I don't think Pellegrini's best quality, to put it nicely, is by taking free kicks. I've seen him come up short a lot. I've seen him overhit, but mostly come up short. And now I just think that there's a lot of other players who are really good at them. So there's no need. Happy for the rooster. Il Gallo. Il Gallo means rooster. Italian lesson of the day. If you couldn't, put that one together. Yeah, Gallo. We have serious problems in wide areas for a long time, crossing really poor. And we know, like Spinazzola had, I think he messed up at least one big one, if not two, and it costs Roma. It does. So I agree that there is a little bit of a problem in the wide area, and I think we will see the starting formation be modified by the end of September. Young Dodge says, until Cristante and Pellegrini plague our team. Plague our team. Are you talking about the player who played the most games outside of Rui Patricio last season in Cristante? There's no... Young Dash, I disagree with you here. There's no problem with Cristante. Is he a world beater? Is he elite? No. But Brian Cristante is definitely a guy you want in your team. Go back to the first goal again, the one that was ruled offsides. Who played a 35 to 40-yard long ball? Cristante did, yeah? Okay, I think Cristante on this board needs a little bit more respect. I'll continue. On to Pellegrini. Let's see what happens this season. Didn't do so good for, I would say, 9 out of 10 times that he played last season. But then at the end, he came into his own. I think he started to show up a bit more. I also think the idea was for Pellegrini to play a bit deeper, which we saw on the first match day of last season. And because of the injury to Wijnaldum, he was pushed into a role which Mourinho did not prefer. This is what I'm assuming. But now I hope that Pellegrini does play deeper. Sven's here. He's going to look gutted. Sven's not feeling too hot. And he's very happy about Bellotti getting in there. And also, Young Dash says, preps to Bellotti shows why he's getting paid. Ioannis, once Pele and Pala are back, who'd be your starting 11, Wayne? Ooh, my gosh. My starting 11. I'm going to look at something I've got here real quick. I've got this banner here. I'm going Mancini, Smalling, Llorente, Karsdorp, Sanchez, Paredes, Aouar, Zalewski after today's game. I would have gone Spinazzola, but I'm going Zalewski now. With Dybala up top and Bellotti. El Shaarawy as a sub. That's my ideal 11. What do you guys think about that? If you need me to repeat that, I'll do it. I'm just trying to put all those in my brain. Okay, we've got more comments coming in. Very good. Why was Paulino suspended and where was Pellegrini? All three, including Mourinho, were suspended. Why? Because I believe yellow card accumulation, right? Or Mourinho get a red card last season? Karsdorp has never been the best in the league, Graham says, but of the players we've had recently there, I always feel the team plays better with him. What do you think about Rick's chances? The team played better with him. Compared to Selic, I give you that. I think that even if Rick has a bad game technically, I think what he offers athletically and defensively with coverage, I agree that Roma play their best with Rick Karsdorp. And today, we also saw an example of that. Even if he came on as a sub, what was that sub? The 65th minute, right? So he gets just under a half hour, gets to do his thing. Roma played much better. Next comment. There were 2 fouls on Bellotti in the box. Yes, Rowan. And why doesn't anybody look at them? Why? I don't know. Maybe you know, Rowan, because it baffles me. And at night, when it's 10:30 p.m. and I'm putting my head on my pillow and I'm thinking about my day and I remember that Bellotti wasn't even looked at, I don't know why. I look up to the stars. I look for a reasoning. I look at my horoscope and try to find out why doesn't VAR and Roma jive? Why don't the referees look at VAR for Roma? I open up fortune cookies and I try to get the answer, but nothing helps, and I don't know anymore. Jonas and some Spurs players turned on Mourinho. He never come through. Oh, that's a good point, Amir. Congrats, Wayne. Your channel is growing since the last time I checked. Yes, we have broken 1,000 subscribers. Yes, I'm very happy about that, and thank you guys. I really can't do it without you, obviously. So yeah, I'm really pumped about that. This is like truly my passion project. I love doing this. So I did start a new job recently, and I've had a little bit less time, especially with the baby. But we're gonna make it work. You know, that's the reason why I didn't come on right after the game, as I typically like to. But if I know that I'm working that day, then I do my best to let you know as well. Like I will put my stream the day before and give you a time so you know, so people aren't like, where's Wayne? So I actually like Karsdorp and Zele as the wingback duo. M says, what's up, Ted? Yeah, I think people reciprocate that sentiment. Youth on the wings is important. It is. Speed on the wings is important. Best players today, Bellotti, Zalewski, and Renato did well when he came onto the pitch. Oh, Nissen is Christensen's middle name. Good. Sven, did you tell me you're Danish? I think. So there you go. I never heard that, Nissen. I didn't know that would be a nickname. What did you think about our ball movement? It's good. Much better than last season. As I mentioned, the tactic has changed. It's not a 3-4-2-1 anymore. It is much more of a, what do you call it when something is not so rigid? It's much more rigid 3-5-2, which I kind of like, because when your setup is rigid, you rely on creative players. So Mourinho wouldn't put this forward if he didn't have guys that he could say, okay, now I can trust your individual capabilities to help me out here. Where would you fit Pele and Dybala with Pele? It's funny because I gave you my top 11, but I didn't include Lorenzo Pellegrini. If just because someone is a captain, maybe this is a stupid question. I'm going to ask it anyway. I'm too deep now. Just because someone is a captain, does that mean that they need to start every single match? Does that mean that they need to start the majority of matches? I don't know. Maybe if we think outside the box, do things have to be the way that they've always been done? I don't know, but I do know, or I feel strongly that unfortunately my starting 11 in a Europa League final does not include Lorenzo Pellegrini with the players that Roma has at this very moment and in the form that they're in. Smalling had a tough go on Candreva. I love the community that you're building, Wayne. Keep it up. Thank you, Purity. I love it, man. It's really cool. I never thought. I wish I had started doing this in 2013 when I started Twitter, because I don't know if you guys know, like, Twitter's my main thing, and if I take you to my page, that's like something I put so much time in since I was 23 years old. I'm 33 years old, and that's become. I'm not the most followed Roma page, but I am the most followed Roma individual, like as an actual person, not like a website or a brand, right? I'm the most forward facing, transparent, I don't know, like person, individual. I don't consider myself an influencer. This is just something I really love to do. I love to make people smile. I love to connect fans, right? So this is my Twitter page if you don't know where I am on other socials, and Wayne in Rome also on Instagram, which I like for fun. So there we go. Sometimes I'll post like informational stuff on Instagram too. It's not always the same type of content, but I think, I should have started 2013. I should have started when I was coming up with IFTV and helping them out and doing videos for them. Like, why didn't I have the vision? I can only thank my wife for kind of pushing me into this. And also, the day after that I stopped working with CBS Sports is really when I started to think about this. So when I started to consider what could really be done on YouTube. Pellegrini not fitting him. I don't want to. Yeah, I'm almost afraid to keep talking about this because I feel like it's bad juju. I'm like, ooh, Pellegrini. Anyway, but going into it, this is kind of like my prediction. Was I knew that Paulo Sousa had a strong core with, guess who? Yeah, Candreva, with Ochoa. Botheim just came over from Bodo Glimt, a former teammate of Solbakken. But I did think that Roma would rise above. And in fact, I was kind of on the right track. I don't predict score lines. I don't believe in that. I think it's a little bit arrogant to be like, oh, it's going to be 2-2. I'm not Nostradamus. I don't know. But I just do know the way that teams are likely to play. If we look at stats, if we look at their coaching, right? We knew that Roma would play in a 3-5-2. They would play with deep penetrating passes. That's how Roma scored the first and the second ball. And a reignited Bellotti could be lethal. In fact, was lethal, right? So this formation here was put out by Gazzetta dello Sport. I'm finally using my subscription. And they got it right. I didn't think... No, I'm sorry. They got it wrong because Zalewski was actually... Instead, there was Spinazzola, which is what I had assumed. I didn't think Zalewski was going to start this one. But otherwise, yeah, solid. So they were good with that. Good job, GDS. Anyway, tough one, as we know. I'm going to get back to some comments now as well. I guess I can leave that up for you, right? I'll leave you this starting lineup. Of course, not Zalewski. Ruby, Smalling, Mancini, Llorente, Cristante, Aouar, Zalewski, Karsdorp, Pellegrini, Dybala, and Belotti or Zapata. Paul's going to Rome. Last 2 weeks, November. Roma Udinese. Very nice. Marco said last year, our players' value is decreasing because of the style of play. That's why we had no one to sell and get money for the market. How is this a surprise? Marco. Well, maybe if Roma won the Europa League, those values would be a little bit higher. Pellegrini should play where Bove was today. Paredes for Cristante. Good shout. I love the play when Spinazzola inverted and switched with Aouar. Imagine if it was Zalewski. True, like an undercut, underlapping run, which is this new type of tactic that we really see Theo Hernandez doing the past 3 seasons under Pioli, where if you look at Zalewski you can't see my mouse, but let's say Zalewski actually cut in and read diagonally through the midfield. That would be considered an underlapping run, as opposed to traditionally what a wingback does is they look to just streak up and down the pitch, overlapping. So if that was Christensen, he would get around Bredaric and look to get in that way, rather than actually getting into the space of the attacking midfield. So it's a new type of tactic for sure. Last several years is really the first time that I know that has been used. So back to some comments. We saw how Pellegrini is going to be playing. Chris will move back as the ball playing center back, and Aouar, Pele, another midfielder today. It's nice that he progressed the ball from the pack. The way Spinazzola, Aouar, Cristante, and Llorente played on the left. Saudi Arabia, Miss Purple, 1:30 a.m. Jeez, thanks for coming in. And we've got Paul, who lives very close to me. I would agree. Cristante, Pele, Mancini are weak spots. Not popular, but true. Sorry. So you'd sit Lorenzo, Cristante, and El Shaarawy. I would, Ioannis. I would. I think that these are great players, good players. El Shaarawy in particular is in good form. Just think that as our full starting 11, there's no way you bench Dybala and then it's a true number 9 and 10. It doesn't make any sense to not have Bellotti and Dybala starting. Young is angry. That's okay. I think a fan base selling out the stadium for 2 straight seasons and going deserves more. Yeah, it's true. And I feel the same way. I do feel that. I think it's a shame when 62,000 people show up 34 games in a row, Young Dashi, and they don't get a win every single time. And Roma really struggled last year. Roma did not do good, in my opinion, in the league. So I think Above and Rick are good from the bench. Congrats on 1,000. Thank you. Kevin says, I feel so good about the depth of the squad. We will surprise the world this season with the trophy and maybe getting into the Champions League. I hope, my friend. Does this Roma have enough to get into the Champions League? I hope. I think from what I saw today, I feel a lot stronger. I feel a lot better about it than I did last week, than I did before Paredes and Sanchez were signed and before I actually saw them play. So guys, by the way, remember to subscribe, please. Keep it coming in. So we're over 1,000 now. Okay, let's see what's up. Just getting caught up on the comments. And yeah, Sven is Danish. Mark says, we struggled against Salernitana. How are we going to play against bigger sides? Let them cook. Let them bake. Let them get a little familiar, Marco. Richard says, we put Pellegrini in the rotation. Not a consistent starter unless he gets back in top form. And Chris answers my question here that I asked about the captain having to be the starter. Well, you do need a captain armband. you need somebody on the pitch, but that doesn't mean they are the team captain all the time, right? Because when a captain comes off, they give their armband over because someone has to talk to the referee. Captain is a leader in the dressing room, doesn't have to play just for the sake of it. And I agree. I agree with Chris here. Just because Pellegrini is the captain does not mean that he has to play every single match or that he has to start the majority. Thanks, Sven. Thank you, brother. Marco, I'm not responding. Those are like buddies of mine about IFTV. It's definitely a different type. Like IFTV's podcast is modeled it's modeled like you're at a bar, I think, like chiacchiere, chat in Italian. I think that it's really good at that. And you can't take away the fact that IFTV as a collective, they put a lot of work in, I think, to unify what was a disjointed community, which in my opinion will always be a disjointed community, which is Italian clubs. Roma fans are not going to start cheering for the other guy. There are no alliances and it's a lot less casual. But I think as time goes on, what IFTV did was really smart, which was uniting different Italian fans, or fans of Italian football, I should say. But I like to think that my podcast and this YouTube is unique, one, for the input of the fans. And I think that because I know that the people who come here like to really talk about ball, X's and O's, that's what I love. And I love also just things which are cool and things which people are interested in. So I like to think that that's what makes this page a little bit unique. At the end of the day, a point salvaged. Yeah, it's true. Roma did really good to rescue that point. Karsdorp, our best right back option, wasn't impressed with Christensen. Spina wasn't great either. I wasn't impressed with Christensen either. Appreciate your takes. For sure, you want to start Pele over Awar and switch him in later. Interesting. My kid, 5-year-old, and I are watching. He says, hi to you and the baby. Oh, thanks, Vijay. Thank you very much. Vikram, oh, he must be super cute. Must be super cute kid. 5 years old. Oh. Sanchez showed so much skill. You almost forgot how hyped he was years ago. I mean, Sanchez is, in my opinion, of the highest category in his generation for technical ability of midfielders. Who were the most surprisingly good and surprisingly bad? Surprisingly bad, Christensen. Also, I thought Chris Smalling looked a little rusty. But then again, like Chris Smalling is perfect for 99% of the game. But then with center backs, they make one mistake and you're like, they played like garbage. But in reality, the other time, played really good. And you don't have a good game or you don't have a bad game when the opponent has an XG of 0.14. It doesn't work like that. So that has something to do with it as well. So Spinazzola is probably my number one guy. His biggest surprise, definitely Bellotti. I liked also seeing Awar, but I wasn't surprised the way that I was with Bellotti. Bellotti really did surprise me. We have enough quality to take to Champions League, but let's not forget we have a manager who disagreed. Marco, he just brought the club to 2 European finals in a row. He won one of them, should have won the second. Wasn't his fault. Hey, come on. You got to give the dog a bone here. Quick one. Who's going to be Roma's top scorer this year? Imagine if it's Bellotti. Could you imagine if Bellotti went from scoring 0 goals last season in Serie A to becoming the leading goal scorer? He's already got 2. He's got 2. So he's off to a great start. And honestly, he scored 3. How far on Ted Lasso? You're threading very close to a theme in season 1 with an important player. I just got to the point where the 23-year-old striker was recalled by Manchester City. So, but Juno Temple, she's so good. I can't believe that she plays accents that way because I just saw her in the making of The Godfather, The Offer. And she's in that. And I don't think she plays an accent, but she's so good. So when I saw her in Ted Lasso with the British accent, I was like, no. And she's so good. But it's such a great show. I'm really enjoying it after people bothered me for so long about it. But I'll tell you a good show. We got a couple more comments in here as well. We're in 45 minutes. This is awesome. Over 50 people. Remember to subscribe and like. Thank you very much. Is Gomorrah. Let me know if you have seen Gomorrah, which is it my favorite show? I reserve that for The Sopranos. You got to understand, I grew up mostly in New Jersey. But my number 2 is Peaky Blinders and Gomorrah. And by the way, I saw Oppenheimer this weekend, which was excellent. You know, I'm a history teacher; it's my day job, but I think even people who are not super into history will love that movie. And I think it's made a lot of money this year. Okay. Hypothetical, you're coaching. What playing title would you use with this lineup? A back four? What playing title? You mean like a formation, Chris? Like if I was to exactly get to how these guys, hi, can you show my Romanista? I just got a message. Can you show my Romanista dog in your show? Thank you. Yeah, I can, I think. Let me see. Let me see how I can do this. If I can put a picture there. I need a way to block out my other contacts in WhatsApp. Let's see. If not today, I just got the funniest message. It's about to show someone's dog, but I will work on how I can show this dog because that's a very cute Rottweiler. I think I'll work on an image for that next time. I'll make a brand out of it or something. But anyway, what are we talking about? If I was to have this team line up, I go back four because I'm traditional in that sense. I love a 4-2-3-1. For me, yeah, I love that. But I also do enjoy this 3-5-2. The 3-4-2-1 from last season, I did not like at all. I'm totally honest with you. So I go 4-2-3-1. I do like the new 4-2-2-2 that Ancelotti is playing, but I think that he definitely has a different type of roster. Christensen has a place, M says, but that's late in the game to run down opponents like a rabid dog. Love him in that role. He just lacks enough to be starting, though. I think that's a great point. And from the limited amount of time that I've seen Christensen, that makes a lot of sense. He's not going to be your outside wing back, dynamic, putting balls into the box. It's not him. But what he does offer, I think, is what I've seen, which is an athletic ability and the fact that he could stay a little bit deeper, stay concentrated. So style. Yeah. So just back to Chris's question, 4-2-3-1, 3-5-2. I like the way it looks right now, to be honest. Marco to come on to the show. Are you like Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless? Yeah, good NFL reference there. We need to get Marco on this show for sure. Marco Galovich, let me know when you're ready, man. I think Renato and Paredes is going to be unreal, and everyone will praise Pinto. That'll be sweet. Yeah, excellent cast. Ted Lasso. So Indica didn't come on. Looked rusty. No, not rusty. He looked unfamiliar. He looked new. He looked like he was put into a new situation and he still needs time to adapt. That's why, Indica. But I like your optimism. I didn't scout Indica. I didn't look at a lot of his videos before he came to the team. I knew that he was good one-on-one. I knew he was athletic. He was free and he was young. So those were like a lot of things which made me interested. Did Mattis do us a favor? He made us by Paredes and Renato, didn't he? And Germanicus watched Gomorrah. Guys, Gomorrah will suck you in. It is one of the best shows I think maybe ever made. It's actually off of a book. You're going to love the main character, Chiro. You're going to love Jenny at times. You got to check it out. It's on HBO. It's on Max for me. So I'm not sure where you are, which territory rights. But if you watch the first season or the second season, there's a chance that you didn't get the opportunity to watch the further seasons for a long time. Well, HBO has them on now. What happened was that the show was run by Harvey Weinstein. And when he got into all that trouble, it took off a lot of his shows, I'm pretty sure, is how that went. So, okay. Anyway, I want to look at some, before I hit the last comments here, I want to look on Football Italia and see if anything else has come up here. By the way, Juventus ran riot today. Chiesa, excellent strike. And Fiorentina got 4 goals. Nico Gonzalez on the score sheet. I think Bonaventura as well. So I'm going to watch those highlights soon. And oh my gosh, just looking at Zaniolo at Aston Villa. What a joke, man. I think Zaniolo's finished. I think that this season at Aston Villa is going to expose him for the worse. And he's just going to be in this constant journeyman cycle of like mid-table clubs. He could probably end up I could see him coming back to Serie A for maybe like a rotational player at Milan, but they have so many wingers now. Or going to Saudi Arabia and making 20 million a year to, run straight with the ball, miss a pass and get the occasional goal. Am I being too mean? I don't know. I like being able to speak a little bit more openly now that he's not a Roma player. Anyway, I'm going to look at some Roma news right now. Just make sure we got all our stuff covered. Yeah, and as we started off in this episode, Bellotti says, "I missed being myself," and that kind of hurts, doesn't it? Like that must have been really depressing and tough on him last year. If you go on social media, God forbid, Bellotti, I don't know if he has an account, an official account, but like, players, they go on social media. He's 30 years old. He's not like some old tough guy who can put the world on his shoulders, like he's human. And that must have been a really tough period last year, but I truly believe he's past it now. So, but yeah, nothing remarkable that we didn't get to, but a lot of great comments today. Huge Chris Nolan fan. So am I. Christopher Nolan is, I think, the best director right now. There's like the old guard. You've got Steven Spielberg, you've got Cameron, but Nolan, what I love about him is he doesn't like to do CGI. He likes to do everything real, like real stunts, real fireworks or whatever. Instead of using CGI stand-ins, he'll use boards and he'll do stuff to make it look as real as possible. Matic sacrifice for us to get a real midfield. Yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe we'll take a look at this as well. Let's share this tab just so you know like the current stuff right now. Also, if our buddy Enzo from Twitter is on here, I wanted to pull up one of his tweets. If we could do that. Yeah, my computer. I use an iMac, and this thing I have to bring in. I have to bring it into the computer store soon because the chip is so slow. Ugh. I see Roma things on Twitter. He's not too happy. Man. So where are we going? We're going to Enzo, pure _ Romanista. He's doing real good. So let's see what Enzo's got to say for us. He's got this question. Would you start Paredes next week? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, why not? And I like this one. This did actually very well. Awad against Salernitana. 89 minutes. He made 75% of his passes completed, which is high considering that he's in an attacking phase. 3 chances created. The majority of his crosses. Half of his long balls. 57 touches. Good. Fine. And never dispossessed. That is indeed an impressive debut, my friend Enzo. Oi, so let's see what I got coming on in Twitter right now. Yeah, we got some comments coming in. So, there we go, my man. Yeah, that's excellent, my boy. Let's get back to the comments though. If you know Mourinho, he never shows all his cards. He will have good players. A bench from, I guess, is Rick. Bove Sanchez will be on the bench. I strongly believe Christensen will be good in the coming days. Very good. Okay, a thick boy. He added some physicality along with the quality, Sanchez, when he came on. I loved watching him play in the red and gold. True. Let me break it down, Spen says. Christensen is no world beater or Cafu, but he's the type of player who works for the team and does what he's told. He just needs a little time. Yeah. Go Sven. Christensen is like Spina or Zalewski, who cannot come on, score, pass, find a ball. But Rick is not. No. I agree with Sven here, and I like that. I think that's a good assessment. It's not that I'm dissing the Saudi league. I think that the Saudi league is not looking to be equal. They're looking to take over. So just the fact that they throw money, which is so far beyond what we consider reasonable or what we consider the current market value, is what I mean. We're like, I really do think Zaniolo can go and make 15 million, 20 million a year tax-free in Saudi Arabia right now while being a mediocre player. It's how they're doing it, right? Like, don't you want to go play in the 3rd division of Saudi right now? You're probably thinking like, I'm kind of good at football. Like, I'm still fit. Maybe I can go make like $100,000 a year playing football in the Saudi 3rd division. Maybe. No, I'm just messing around. But Ioana says he thinks we'll be okay with Bellotti and Zapata for the first half of the season. Marcos would come for 10 million in January. I think it's good. I think it's a really good deal if he comes at all. So January, that's fine by me. It's fine if Zapata comes. I would really enjoy. I think this is a player who could seriously help Roma offensively and long term too. Young player. Is he 20 years old, right? 20 years old, Marcos Leonardo? Got to fact check this. Leonardo is in fact 20. Yes. So, and then, it's just been a flurry of constant news. It changes every hour. Nobody knows what they're talking about. Ridiculous. Okay. Guys, thank you very much. We're just under an hour. We covered a lot of ground today. I'll probably be back soon. I would say maybe, if not tomorrow, the next day, doing some stuff, maybe like shorter stuff to wrap up. And then we've got Hellas Verona on the horizons, first match day of the season. We know that Roma are not out. It's fine. They grabbed the point, showed character today. You guys had excellent comments. You were super helpful in guiding discussion and helping me out here. And if you don't mind, if you haven't done it so far, I know most of you have, appreciate that as well, which is on the screen. And we will talk soon, guys. Any other comments before we sign off? I don't think anything else. Ioana says, yeah, okay, with Bellotti, Zapata. I think we're good. Anything else that I missed? I don't believe. So here we are. Pinto says too early to say for Roma and Duvan Zapata. So we'll see how that story emerges. And if he does sign, I think we'll do a live stream as well if we can. So, all right, guys. And by the way, I intend to get my Totti jersey framed and back up to my new studio. I'm in my part of my living room. I'm trying to make it happen. So space is limited right now. And I'll also try not to match my wall. What do you know? Maybe it'll happen. We'll talk soon, guys. Thank you. Ciao.